10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yo, you know what time it is. It's Tuesday. It's 8 o'clock, an hour early than we usually go, but it is Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am your host, the dad bod god himself, the bald, the beard, the beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight I have an amazing guest that I'm going to bring out. I'm really excited to have this guest on. This gentleman is a man I've wanted to have on the show for a long time, so I'm really pumped to finally have him on for a awesome conversation. But guys, before I get into that, we want to take a quick second, a quick pause for the cause to thank some of those sponsors that help us keep the lights on up in this bitch, because you know these colorful lights are expensive to run, guys. I am not gonna fucking lie. But first up is sleefs.com. That is SLEEFS. Now, if someone you know is an athlete or you're an athlete, you need to check out sleefs.com. What they've got is armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, compression socks, headbands, mouth guards, boots. Guys, they've even got dirty boxes. And I've got to tell you, they sent me a box of these dirty boxes, guys, and they are the most comfortable boxes that I own, guys. I'm an active guy. I'm always moving around. They stay dry. They stay fresh. They stay comfortable. So check out sleeves.com. Use promo code MWA pod to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Next up, while you're checking out stuff on the internet, go and check out healthvape.com. Now, let me tell you something, guys. If you or someone you know is a smoker, a vapor, get them onto a healthier lifestyle, guys. Look, I'm one of those guys. I walk around. I'm a vapor. Is that a word? Is that a thing? I walk around with one of these things that make like really loud noises and throw clouds up. My wife is at me, and I'm going to healthvape.com. All of their products are no nicotine, no addictive or harmful chemicals, and they are vitamin infused, guys. So go and check out healthvape.com. Use promo code MWA pod to get a 10% discount at checkout, guys. And seriously, guys, if you haven't done already, go and check out MWApodcastnetwork.com. It's our new website. It's going to have all of the latest information of shows that we've got coming up. All of our past shows will be able to be easily found at MWApodcastnetwork.com. So go and check it out. And also check out our new merch store, which is storefrontier.com/MWA world. We've got some amazing merch on offer, guys, so go and check it out. But guys, also check out some of the amazing shows we've got on the network, like Killing the Business with former ECW original, the Kingpin, Angel Medina. He's joined by King Mega and the Burger King, Glenn Sexton. So make sure you check out that show every single week. Check out Get Funked, which is going to air tomorrow at 10 a.m. Australian time, hosted by former WCW and TNA star Alan Kwee Funk. He's going to have on his guest, primetime Elix Skipper, so make sure you check it out. And also check out Knights of the Gimmick Table, hosted by the Dead Presidents, Boogaloo and Lowrider. Check out NXT Roundup. Check out Wrestling with Sports. Check out the Funk and Kingpin Show. Guys, seriously, we are your one-stop shop for all your pro wrestling multimedia, guys, so make sure you all go and check it out. But I can see we got some people starting to climb into the room here. We've got Kyle Eade, who can't wait for this one. Well, Kyle, wait no further, because I'm going to be joined by my guest, Mr. Concrete Davidson. Brother, thank you for joining us, and thank you for letting me get through all those plugs in the beginning.
Not at all. Thank you for having me. I'm surprised I'm somebody that you've been wanting on for a while. So you
Really, man?
you
Because
could have had me at any time.
I know, man, I know, but you're finally on now, which is the main thing. It's great to have you on.
Yeah,
Thank you for giving up your time to come and spend with me on a Tuesday evening.
that's okay. I had a bit more time up my sleeve with I got the what is it called? The parental leave at the moment. So
Yeah.
yeah, I got nothing on tomorrow. I mean, I do have some stuff, but it's not it's not the 9 to 5 that I normally do.
So you've just had you and your partner have just had a baby, is that correct?
Yeah, we just had our second baby boy last Monday
Oh,
on Labor
congrats,
Day,
man.
funnily
Oh,
enough. So
wow.
yeah.
What's the young fella's name?
So he's. Oh, do you want to? So because Bonzo and myself both had boys around the same time last year, and we gave them both wrestling names. Do you want the wrestling name, or do you want his real name?
I want the wrestling name. Like, let's go the wrestling
The
name, then we'll
wrestling
go the
name.
shoot name.
Sure. We got Stonewall Davidson. Is his
Yeah.
or Stone Davidson. His older brother, who's a year and 3 months, is Brick Davidson. But Stone's real name is Rocky. So yeah.
Stone Rocky. Oh,
So
there you go.
he's actually very. Yeah, there you go. So he's just asleep. That's all he's doing really. He's pretty low maintenance at the moment. But yeah, if his brother's
Man,
any
I know the
indication,
feeling.
it'll change.
I know the feeling, man. I've got a 5-month-old baby boy, so it's they're definitely they'll keep you on your
Mm.
toes, man. Especially around that newborn age, man. It's a great time to spend with them. So lots of time to chill out and soak it all in.
Yeah. Oh, the hard thing about this leave, I guess, at the moment is not even the new guy at all. It's keeping my 15-month-old entertained. So yeah, the other guy just sleeps. So it's pretty cruisy so far when it comes to the new guy. Yeah.
Well, there you go, man. But we have just come out of lockdown here in Sydney, man. Like you're down at the Central Coast, correct? So you guys have been in lockdown as well, right?
Yeah, we were sort of. I think we were classed as Greater Sydney. I can't remember how it was, but yeah, we're out of it as of yesterday as well. And yeah, just in time. I thought I had my second vax on Monday, and I didn't get like a text reminder, so I called them up, and then they said, no, it's not till the 20th, but do you want to move it up? So I'm like, yeah, let's move it up. So I'm getting the second one tomorrow. So yeah, back to business, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, man. How did you keep yourself like, I suppose like having a 1-year-old at home would keep you pretty much entertained and run off your feet as well. But like during the lockdown time, like how did you keep yourself sort of like entertained and motivated and stuff like that?
So this most recent lockdown, I did not lift a single weight or anything like that. Last year's lockdown, though, I was still like, doing the backyard workouts and
Yeah.
all that sort of thing. So yeah, I just remember that having that sense of like, imagine how great this is going to be when we come out of it, because like we were kind of in the lead for a bit there. Like it was getting exciting when I was thinking like, wow, this is the whole world is going through this, and the
Guys, we have just had a bit of a technical difficulty, but he will be back. But guys, also, like I said, make sure you head over and check out our website, mwapodcastnetwork.com. You're going to get all the latest information, updates, and everything there. Guys, also, you need to check out our merch store, storefrontier.com/MWA world.
Sorry about
Sorry, you were
this.
saying?
It's terrible
No, it's all
connection.
good.
Oh no, I was saying, yeah, it was feeling like it was exciting because it was like we're the first, like I was thinking like we're going to be the first that are coming back out of this in the world.
Mm.
Like New South Wales was on top of it. We were life was pretty normal. The whole first half of this year, we were getting back to, shows and stuff, and we were like we had audiences before anyone really. Whereas this time it was a bit sort of what's the point? Like it didn't make a difference. Like that was the most disheartening thing, was that I don't know what I expected. But I thought that there might have been a sense of who's going to come out of this first. Oh, New South Wales or Sydney, PWA, they're coming out with the new fresh content. I'm going to check that out because I'm sick of empty arena wrestling, or I need something new. But it just, I don't know. If there was that, it wasn't as much as I was kind of crossing my fingers for. So yeah,
I mean,
so
it was
this
kind
time
of
I haven't been
disappointing.
as motivated.
I was just going to say it was kind of disappointing, like for us to go back into lockdown, because I think like for the longest time we were one of the pretty much the only country to have sporting events and wrestling shows at a full capacity, and then bang, it just gets taken away. You know what I mean? Like it must have been disheartening as a performer to go through that.
Yeah, and I actually the most disheartening thing wasn't even that it got taken away so soon. It was more that we came back. And no one cared about it. Like nobody, like you would have. I would have thought that maybe some, fans in the UK or the United States that sort of were, either sick of the empty arena wrestling on TV, or just clamoring for something new, would have heard that we were coming out with new stuff and just would have at least had that thought of like, oh, they're the first to come out of this. How are they going to address it? What's it going to be like? But it just, I don't know. It just didn't. If it was there, I don't know. Maybe it's what led Meltzer to watch Oz Open versus Velocities. I don't know. It's you never know. Maybe it did do something, but I'm not sure if it sort of moved the needle the way that I was crossing my fingers for, really. But yeah.
I mean, I think the product that was put out was amazing for a lot of companies, and I think as well, like now, after coming out of a long period of lockdown, for a majority of like the state and the country, I think that now what we'll see is a lot more newer fans coming to shows, whereas like people that were like, you know what, I really want to go to a show. I really want to go watch some live wrestling. Those guys will now go to a live wrestling show, because I think that the fear of going back into lockdown and not being, you know what I mean? Like, when you're like, you've never done something, but it's like, fuck, now I can't do it. That's all I want to do.
Yeah. No, I thought that the first time too. I thought like, oh man, there's definitely I really thought there was going to be a massive boom once we got back to it, which I think there would have been had we not had stuff like, event capacity restrictions. So, like having only 75% capacity indoors and stuff like that, or having, like everybody has to wear a mask and everybody has to be seated. Like if it was just full blown, we're back and it can be standing room only out the back or whatever, like I reckon it would have gone off, but it was because it still had those, those minor sort of restrictions and stuff. It just didn't quite feel like I was kind of, I was expecting it to be like, I was expecting it to be basically all the sling rings and at the end of the Avengers and just sort of like, we're back. Like, at the end of it, oh my God, like just, they're all back. Everybody's back. Yes. But it just, I don't know, just didn't take shape that way. I don't know, maybe it'll be like that when we come back this time. But I think Newey did a good job of doing a bit of hype, like with that City Hall show. First one back, like they had a really good, hype video with a lot of newer faces in it too. So that created a bit of curiosity. But I think that it's also a bit weird because it's like you kind of half have to set the reset button on some things. It's like whatever was in the works. It's sort of like, okay, how do you either reheat this new stuff, So I know that I think, or have I lost you? I think I.
So, guys, we just had a little bit of a cutting out there. But, guys, make sure you check out tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Australian time, which will be 7 p.m. USA Eastern. Catch Get Funked, which will be this week. Alan Funk will be joined by none other than primetime Elix Skipper. Go and check it out. That's going to be an interesting interview. Elix is, was making a name for himself in WCW just before WCW closed. TNA icon as well. So make sure you do not miss that. 10 a.m. Australian time, 7 p.m. USA Eastern. Make sure you tune in for that, guys. It'll be available on all your podcast platforms and YouTube.
Am I back?
You're back. There you go.
Back. I'm hoping I'm back. It's just my terrible Wi-Fi from 3 rooms away from the router. So it's different in everybody's case. Like some things like the like obviously I think like the Moretti Wahlberg thing was something that was in the works when we went into lockdown, and then when we came out of it, they really had to kind of scramble to wrap that up and sort of say goodbye to one of them kind of thing. So we can all kind of just use our imaginations to how that might have gone in the end. So there's a lot of how do we reset, how do we move forward, and so I don't know, see how we do it this time.
100%. But like your wrestling journey, you actually started out with TNT in AWF, correct?
Yeah, so I first saw TNT wrestle at the International Assault Tour with World Series in like 2005. And he was in a triple threat with Kazarian and Super Dragon. And they really packed everything they had planned into however much time they were allotted, which probably was only like 10 minutes, but they had maybe 30 minutes of stuff planned. And I'd never seen an indie match like that. Super triple moves, super triple, kind of, all that sort of stuff. But so I got started with AWF, but to be honest, like not to take anything away from him, but like the school at that time had a lot of coaches. So when people ask me who trained me, if anything, I would say it was be more like Billy Flyswatt or Jay Law were much more sort of hands-on than TNT. He was, I'm not going to say not present. He was definitely around, but I think that if I just did a tally of, who was there most days for the most of my classes, like it was Flyswatt and J Law, JT as well, JT Robinson, who's still around, and those were sort of the main sort of coaches, I guess, and that was big back.
We're just having a connection issue there, guys. I'm sure Concrete Davidson will be right back with us. But guys, also make sure this Saturday, Killing the Business, which will be at 11 a.m. Australian time, which will be 8 p.m. Friday, USA Eastern. So make sure you tune into that with the three kings, Kingpin Angel, King Mega, and the Burger King, Glenn Sexton. Welcome back.
I'm back. They don't last long, those connection issues. It's just this room. I might even see if I can move it to another room, actually.
Good.
If you'll stay with me.
Absolutely. We'll go for a walk with you. But as far as like, starting, and, training with AWF, were you, did you wrestle for them exclusively for a period of time?
I did between like 2000 up until about 2011 was the time that I started working elsewhere, and there was actually a big kind of exodus of like my mates who left in like 2009, and then I was like a tag team champ at the time, and Flyswap was like, look, I've seen this happen before, let's just stay put, because eventually they all come back. And then nobody came back, and then it was like a weird.
We're just having a connection issue, guys. He'll be back shortly. So we're just waiting.
I'm just going to do it down here near the Wi-Fi.
There you go. We got it all set up, guys. But you know, what was it? Do you think that caused a lot of people to leave AWF back then?
Pay
I'm sure he'll be
people,
back.
and
There you go. Sorry, you just got you back.
here we go. I'm in the dark. 1 second. Yeah, no, it's all right. I'll turn it on.
Yeah, so you were just saying like why you think everyone left, you know, AWF
So
back then.
Yeah, I think a bit of it was like, I think around like '09, there was like, hey, money's not great, can't pay everybody, and a lot of guys were like, well, then I'm not gonna not work for other places that are gonna pay me, and then it was, I don't know, everybody's got their own, you know, disagreements and personal sort of whatevers that that resulted from it, but it was mostly that. For me personally, it was because, so 2009, at the end of that year, I broke my left humerus, which was, I've still got like a plate and screws and stuff in there, which kind of, that injury really did change a lot of things in my like future. Like that kind of,
Yeah.
my whole career took another turn after that injury. But that was in the boxing ring at a dojo show. And after that, I said, when I came back from it, I was like, oh, you know, I just don't know. I don't want to do dojo shows because they're in a boxing ring. And like, I've just been through 10 months, you know, and this plate and screws and everything. And it's still like, it's been now, what was that, 2010? So it's now been 11 years that I've had all this hardware in my arm, and it still hurts on a daily basis. Like you know, my son sleeps on this arm, and I can still feel it. You know, it's pretty uncomfortable. So I basically was like, look, I'm not doing dojo shows. And then he was going to book. I think he wanted to book me on a dojo show, but I was like, well, I'm going to do Nui Pro, because Nui Pro was just, I think it was the very first Nui Pro. I declined doing a dojo show, which I said I would never do again. And he was like, yeah, it's totally fine. And then, yeah, I went and did Nui Pro. And as a result, I was forced to drop the Commonwealth title a month later. So it was a bit sort of, oh, okay, I see how it is. So, yeah, but I still worked for AWF after that. You know, on a few occasions, I went back and won the OJ Cup, which meant a lot to me because I knew OJ. And that was really neat. And I've done probably more supernovas than just about anybody at this stage, and they're always fun. But yeah, there was a time there where I was just like, yeah, I'll come back whenever you want. But it was just like, if you're going to work all these other places, he just uses your less. That's about all. You know, it's sort of as simple as it is, really. So.
Oh, 100%. And, you know, as well, like, you know, I think as well, you have to go and develop and, you know, you see some promotions out there, which are like the level of talent that they have will be greater than some of the level of talent that you see somewhere else. And that's just like in anything, there's always going to be certain levels to any game.
Yeah, definitely. I think at that point too, there wasn't really too much difference in quality anywhere. Like everywhere you looked, there was maybe a few really good, like, you know, top guys. The middle guys were a bit of a mix and match. And then there was going to be like maybe, and I say this just about everywhere at the time. This is 2009, 10, 11. I reckon every show in New South Wales had about 2 or 3 people at least that was like, why are they still using this person?
Really?
Yeah. It was just, and you know, it was different everywhere. And like, it's frustrating for the guys that put, you know, a lot of hard work in, and, you know, I think then have to work with them too. So, which was probably the, you know, a bit of, I know, you know, I know that there were people that definitely came to me and were just like, I can't keep working with those guys. I'm going to have to turn heel just so that I don't have to keep working with them, you know.
Or
So
have
that
a
they
shoot
can
in the
start
ring
working
or
with all
something.
the, yeah. I know that in 2009, like that was purely why Billy Flyswat turned heel, was because he was just so sick of working some tag team combination of these three guys that were just all terrible, and he was just like, I'll turn heel and then we'll work each other and have a feud. And I was like, well, okay. I mean, it sucks that we have to drop the belts and not be a team anymore, but at least we'll get some good matches out of this. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like, as far as like, going on and leaving there and going to like Newey Pro and PWA, how did you find the differences in like the training and obviously the shows?
Newey had, it took Newey a few years to get the training part of it, like not together, but like, because they always had somewhere to do it, even if it was in like a boxing gym somewhere and they couldn't like set up the proper ring. So it always so every now and then I'd try to go, down there and, see what they were up to and have a roll around. But it really wasn't until they first went to Gateshead and had like a proper place to, set up and have the ring up and, in a sort of semi-permanent basis. With PWA, it was a bit of a weird, because like I was already 5 years in when I started with PWA in 2012. And the thing about people who are 5 years in is they think they know everything. And so
they're a vet, brother.
It was like I was asked to come into PWA, and then when I came in, it was like, all right, like, okay, but there was this weird sort of standoff, and not just back then, like it kind of lasted a few years where it was like, I was like, I'm not going to give you more unless you give me more, and they were feeling the same at their end too. So, and PWA too, like I think I started just when they went from having the training at the Masonic Centre in Liverpool, which was a good sort of semi-permanent setup for them. They would run, I think, every Friday, or the first Friday of every month, or the last Friday of every month, they would run a PWA show there. So I missed out on that age of PWA. But I went to one or two trainings that were in that Masonic Centre before they packed up and went to, tried to set up training elsewhere. And they too didn't quite get their academy base footing established until I reckon about late 2015, which was out in, I want to say, sort of close to the Casula powerhouse. I think. Yeah. But anyway, they've got a great setup now, and in Ingleburn, and Newey have a great setup in Gateshead as well. So and their schools just keep going from strength to strength to, and they're doing awesome stuff. So it's good and bad that I live halfway between both of them. Good because it's equal, going to either side. Bad because it's still at least an hour either way. So.
100%. One of the things I wanted to ask you was your character. Like, how did you like come up with that sort of style? Because like, just looking at the sort of character, it's very much like that old strongman style gimmick. Which in today's wrestling, you don't really see anyone like this sort of style of gimmick. How did you come up with it, and what was the inspiration for the character?
Well, it was a few things. So firstly, it was kind of an idea I had for this referee. I don't know if old, long-time AWF fans can remember referee Woody, but he was this real tiny, scrawny little ref that we were like on the verge of debuting for a long time. Yeah. And I thought it would be funny if he had the gimmick of an old-timey strongman with like the one shoulder strap that was so big it was just like falling off him, because there was a guy in Nacho Libre that had that, and
I remember.
Yeah. Anyway, so it was a bit like I thought of it for him. Secondly, the arm injury that I just mentioned. After that, I realized like something's got to change, because I can't like athletically keep at the same. I can't go down the road that I wanted to go down. So I'm going to have to really lean on this character stuff if I'm going to continue to do this. And doing an old-timey character from like the 20s when wrestling was really mat based and there wasn't a whole lot of bumps like appealed. And so there was that. And then also just, I had a good relationship with a gear maker who I just thought like, why don't I just get them to make me this and I'll see if I can do this. So that made it even easier. So yeah, all those things combined, and enough people that I ran the idea by were like, yeah, that sounds great. Because yeah, the one I think it's a weakness of mine is that if I come up with a good idea, I have to run it by a few people and be like, is this any good? Is this any good? Is this any good? But I rarely have enough confidence to just go, I know this is good and I'm going to do it. So yeah, luckily enough people thought it was a good sounding thing to do. So it was also originally supposed to just be an every now and then thing.
Yeah.
It was only supposed to be like a mat classic, because I was wrestling as Max Comic, who was like the stand-up comedian character, but like never got any mic time. So it's like, how do you get that over? So I had to think of other ways to try and get across that I was a funny guy. So it was like, how about I start, I have this alter ego that I bring out every now and then on special occasions, like I don't know, like the demon, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was never supposed to last that much. But then after doing it for like maybe 1 or 2 months, I was just like, there's no going back. Like this is getting too much good feedback. And then before you knew it, like, because I was getting like, I think I'd done it for maybe 2 or 3 months. And then like, that was when I met Chris Basso. It was back when he had dreads. He came over for a show in like 2009 to do an AWF show at Panthers, and he loved it. And then, yeah, the following March, I'm like getting flown over to the Strength Cup, and I was like, all right, this this is awesome. I'm just gonna stick with this. So yeah.
Well, you mentioned like obviously the shoulder, the injury, which caused you to sort of change styles and change, direction for character. What was your first ideal of being a character? Was it like the bumping machine, lots of suplexing style of wrestling? Like what sort of gimmick were you envisioning when
Not
you first got into
necessarily.
it?
I suppose I just the character I wanted to be, and I think that there are still wrestlers who think this way. It was just a kind of mix of all my favorite wrestlers at that time, who were like Jericho, Edge, Christian. Like like I didn't have a completely separate picture in my mind of what I wanted to look like. Because even if you look back at like those early, like those Max Comic matches, like you can see a lot of. I remember Hoff apparently was like watching one of my matches, and he was like just pointing it out, and he's like, "There's Christian, yep, there's Jericho," and he was like pointing it all out. So yeah, I think back then I just said it, and that's how a lot of young wrestlers want to be. They don't necessarily think about what. It's almost a little bit selfish. It's almost like a little bit sort of, hey, I'm now like bringing to life what my creator wrestler is at home. So
Yeah.
this is, and you're not really taking into account what the audience is, what the show needs, what will make you different. And I'm glad that I did that, because, and I got a tiny taste of doing it that way, or thinking that way, when I went down for a supernova in Melbourne, and I by accident came out to Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty, and yeah, awesome track, but it's definitely not an entrance thing for wrestling. And so, but I could see like dads in the crowd just being like, "Fuck yeah, Baker Street! Like, let's get to it," So I was like, yeah, you know what? The parents are the ones paying the money on these tickets, so they need someone there for them,
Yeah.
Because a lot of kids don't care for Concrete Davidson. A lot of little kids don't get it.
They wouldn't, would they?
No, it's always been the character for the the drunkies that have been maybe dragged there by somebody who are just like, this is my guy. Oh, this, because it's very tongue in cheek, and it's very like I think I say this humbly, I rate the gimmick like so highly because it's sort of like a doink but better, because like strength and wrestling go better in like hand in hand than clowning and wrestling, and it's still got
100%
those
agree.
like carnival roots and stuff like that. So yeah,
But as well, like, you know, it's interesting to see because like the character itself, like it's so like it's the simplicity of it of going, oh yeah, old style strongman and wrestling, like it just fits, but
yeah,
no one else has done it. You know what I mean? Like, so for you to sort of have that, you know, I'm sure it's been done, but when you bring that Australian flavor and the Australian like sense of humor to it as well, and that
yeah.
Australian feel to it, it gives it something different.
You made a good point. Yeah, because Australian audiences are a bit like, if you take yourself too seriously, they kind of shit all over it too.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit of a perfect like like after I'll tell you this story. So after like the first New Japan tour, um I think I was talking to Bonza and I was like, what was it like going out there, and how did you feel? How are your nerves going out there? And you're on like a proper show, proper stage. You're wrestling for New Japan, thousands of people in attendance. And he said, I had no nerves at all. He goes, honestly, I get more nervous in like an RSL with like 200 people, because it's like, if you feel like a bit of a dickhead, you're just in your undies in an RSL.
Yeah.
Whereas that at New Japan, that's what he'd always worked towards. But my character is kind of more, let's have fun at the RSL, which is what wrestling was when I started. It was all like, if you're in an RSL, great. They've got their own built-in PA and stuff like that.
Exactly.
The production value was not what it is now with the, gigantic truss and the video screens and Video Boy Jacks making us look like $1 million.
Oh, 100%.
So
You know,
yeah.
how did your teaming with Joey Ryan come to be? Because like, you know what I mean? Like in a way, like your character, like, yes, there's a lot of tongue in cheek there, but it's also like in a way kind of wholesome as well. Like it's like, I don't know, like sometimes you can see a little bit of the naivety in your character, and then you've got had Joey Ryan's character, which was literally
very sleazy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So how did that come to be?
I think because leading up to the first revamp of World Series in like 2017, there was talk of me doing something with Joey, because Adrian, who's the guy in charge, was like, hey, I want you and Joey Ryan to do something. Do you think it's better if you're on the same team, or do you think it's better if you're facing each other? And I know that it's always better having two strong characters wrestling two straight men than it is to have two strong characters sort of trying to both get their shtick, over. So I said it'd be better if we probably teamed for that reason. And it was only supposed to be that one-time deal where we also ended up having X-Pac because his match got changed. So, which was like childhood dream just falling in my lap. Like, he was my absolute
What a
favorite
collection of characters though for a six man.
Man, you can see it in my face. Like, I'm like, I'm walking out to the DX music in it's like every kid's sort of dream, like
were you popping in the inside like just going, this is great?
It was like Edge teaming with Hogan. It was that level. Like, and I thought like, wow, like there are people who make millions and millions of dollars and off of wrestling and don't get to have this sort of inner child moment. So it was unreal. So it was only supposed to be that one night, and then the following tour, I think it was supposed to be the world's cutest tag team. Candice got signed, but Adrian still liked the idea of me and Joey, and then they just went with the idea of me and Joey going forward, and it was great. It was I had a very thing with World Series was that it kind of brought out the best and the worst in some people. So it's like, I don't know if you've noticed, but like when say like a PWA wrestler gets announced for like PWG or something like that, all the PWA is just like, you love to see it, all that sort of stuff. Me getting the opportunity that I got with World Series, it was like crickets on social media sometimes
Really?
with some people. Yeah, it was really weird. It was uh, not with all of them, but like, yeah, it was just a bit sort of like, okay, I see how it is.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm getting a bit off track. But with Joey, I found that at that time he was sort of the, I don't know how else to explain this. He was like the Undertaker up the back of the bus that everybody was just trying to pop, and everyone was trying to pick his brain and stuff, because it was like the one thing that the biggest difference I think in those guys to Australians is that at our level, like there's almost this sort of like resentment if you're not working as hard as the hardest workers, sort of,
Hmm.
in Australia. But with them, it was just like, what a genius. What a genius. He absolutely does almost nothing. He's protecting his body. He can do this forever. Like, he's a genius. And they were all like, Austin Aries was like, I wish I had something like Joey's shtick. Like, that was, that was it. There was one night that we had in Melbourne, and the match is on YouTube, where we're against the Philippe brothers, and there was literally just chance, 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 chance. We got to the point that we are like, we can't beat this with our actual match. And then Joey just said, all right, good night, everybody. And then we went to the back, and it just got an even bigger cheer. And then we got to the back, and John Morrison was just like, don't go back out there. Well, I'm like, I really don't want to go back out there. But for their sake, we do have a match planned. So, yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Like, because like even then, like as far as like Joey Ryan is concerned, like we saw last year in the speaking out movement, he got sort of like just machine gunned by multiple people. As far as like teaming with him, like did you see anything that would? Yeah, I mean, like when the stuff came out, were you like? Yeah, like were you not surprised when the speaking out when he got called out so
No,
hard?
not necessarily. Like my experience with him, like because we weren't, and I don't think that I don't think he would argue with this. Like we were friends, but we were professional friends.
Hmm.
Like he I learned a lot off him in like when it comes to taking everybody's best stuff and making everything fit into the match. It's in a sensical way. So there was like a lot of good things that I took away from teaming with him, and I always felt that he was very like big brother sort of. Especially the very last tour where I actually didn't team with him at all because he had his pec tear. That tour actually had a match that was like, I wish I had never had it. The match where I lost the belts. That one I was like, because it was me and Flip Gordon ended up subbing for Joey, and we were against Marty Skrull and Brody King. That was one of like 2 or 3 matches that I got to the back and I was like, I feel like I want to quit business. Not because the match was terrible. Like the match was, I think, received very well by the fans.
Yeah.
It's just that the entire experience was like, I thought Marty was a piece of shit, to be honest. So,
Really?
which I can, yeah, I thought he was a real piece of shit. And I thought that he was a bit of a steamroller, and he was a bit of, you're really getting to shoot here. Yeah, some
Like,
wrestlers that,
was it when you said he
yes,
was like his piece of shit in a steamroller? You mean because like he just wanted to go in, steamroll, get his shit in, and just basically get out of there?
I just don't think that he saw. So I'll get you one better. The tour before that, it was when it was me, Joey versus Marty and Hangman, and at that time it was like a month before the first All In, and Joey and Hangman was the hottest thing in wrestling. So me and Marty were just there to make it a tag, and I don't think Marty liked that, and I don't think he saw much value in me or whatever. I don't know. I thought that I could tell that I was not his favorite person to wrestle, and that's okay. Like, you're not always going to be somebody's favorite person to wrestle. I think that having to do with the following tour, like everybody talks about how lovely Brody King was. I didn't get that from him, and I just assumed that it was Marty cluing him in somehow. But following that match, I was walking up the ramp and I turned around and like all of the fans in attendance were sort of on their feet, given this standing ovation of just like, wow, Concrete really got the snot beaten out of him. He's earned our respect. And I was like, you know what? I don't want it. I wish the match never happened. Like, just was like, I would have rather not had the match. And going back, and Joey came up to me straight away, and he was just like, we're not having that match again unless I'm better. And so I felt kind of protected in that sense. I felt like he was a bit sort of like, because when you've got him as the partner, he's always going to sort of general it and make sure, like, and actually in the tour before that, he sort of let me be hot tag and stuff. So I think that was kind of, maybe he telegraphed something back then, like, Marty's going to be a piece of shit and try to take liberties. But I don't know. I think that Joey was, like, my experience with him, very different to all of that stuff that came out last year. And I always felt that he was quite protective and, like, pretty decent to me personally. But then again, like, I'm not a woman. I don't know. Like, I don't know what he gets up to. I actually did listen to his 50-minute video that he came out with, because I know a lot of people just wouldn't have even given it the time. And at that time, it came out like a week after the birth of my first son, who was, as we've discussed, they just sleep. So I was like, just doing washing up or bottles or something, and I was like, I'm just going to listen to this whole thing. And I listened to it. And he's pretty honest in it. He's very honest, and he also has a fair bit of proof to the contrary on stuff. So it's like, I don't know. It's that's not something that I want to pick a side with. I just know my experience with him, and it was always very positive and professional, and he made me feel looked after. So
I think as well, that's something you have to look at as, like, yes, he's done a terrible thing, but, like, you had a positive experience with him. So that shouldn't, like, that shouldn't tarnish the things that you learned from him and so forth, like, it's the same as, like, you look at Chikara as well. They got, called out the speaking out movement, but, you can't discredit Chikara's wrestling for the last 20 years because of, like, some actions by a few. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's like they still had amazing wrestling there.
Yeah, it's just the stuff that I have that's positive was completely separate from that. And I don't know, like, it's not that I won't say that I was surprised, but it was like, to say I'm not surprised is to say a completely separate thing. I was surprised, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Sure. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But, you mentioned, getting the opportunity to wrestle some of these names, and, you wrestled the Briscoe brothers, who have probably been one of the best teams non-signed in the last 20 years themselves. How was the experience getting in there with two guys that are just, like, complete veterans and amazing at tag team wrestling?
So I was shitting myself before that. I really thought they were going to tear me to pieces. They were so cool. They were actually they liked me, and they, I think it was only the one match, and it was like a 4 corners match: Briscoes, Young Bucks, us, and the Nations. And there was like a whole part of that match where me and Mark Briscoe just brawled all the way up to the bar, and then came back, and we were just trying to make each other laugh that whole time. So, like, yeah, they were good dudes. I really hope that they come back down, or either way. Like, I hope they either come back down or they become so big that we can't afford them. So, yeah.
Oh man, like, but that's the thing. Like, they're honestly one of the two of the most underrated guys of all time. Like, on promos and in wrestling. Like, I think overall, like, and some of the stuff they've been doing, and it's actually probably it's a tragedy that they haven't been signed to, like, an AEW or a WWE, because I think that they can definitely bring something different to the table.
Super believable, like, to the point that I was legitimately, like, worried, like, oh man, am I going to be able to keep up with them and all this sort of stuff? But I don't know. You realize that a lot of these big names that sort of come down here, some of them really want to, like, I don't know, work their asses off in the ring. Others just are fine with just giving us the wave and making most of their money at the merch desk, which is also fine. you know, because really the biggest career shortener in wrestling is the actual wrestling. So it's fine with me if people just want to go in and do their greatest hits and, you know, call it a day. I'm all for that.
Oh, 100%. You know, it's like, you know, you have someone come in, it's like, but I suppose as well, you know, to have the Briscoe brothers, you know, come in and be able to put on decent matches and to be so, you know, giving as well. That's another thing. It shows that their professionalism and the love for professional wrestling overall.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they were good. It's funny because I only really because I was lucky enough to be on that entire tour with them. So it was like by the time I got to the actual match with them, they'd just been with me for like 3 days, and so like I had a bit of more of a chance to build up a rapport. So like they were good. They were really good guys.
Oh yeah, look, it's pleasant to hear that, you know, because I've always been a big admirer of their work and really enjoyed the stuff they've been doing. Like I've been watching their stuff on the indies since the early 2000s, man. So like I was actually reading about them where they actually had to wear like at one of the I think it was a CCW show, they had to go under hoods because they were underage or some shit, and the athletic commission wouldn't allow people under the age of 21 to perform. And even the commentators of the show kept on like going, wow, they kind of look like the Briscoes, but they're like, no, look like these super ninjas or something different.
Yeah, they're like they do love it, but they've also I don't know, like I think that they've got their like chicken farming is like their that was what they did a lot of talking about. Like that's sort of like yeah, their heart's in wrestling, but their chicken farming is like 1A probably.
Yeah, it's a good backup plan, I suppose. But
Yeah.
guys, it is getting to that time of the show. We are going to go into 60 seconds with Piers. Concrete Davidson has been warned. He has been briefed. He has been explained how this is going to go for everyone tuning in for the first time, how this game is played out. I'm going to fire a bunch of questions at Mr. Davidson. He's got 60 seconds to answer as many as he possibly can. When you're ready, give me the green light and we'll get this started.
Easy.
Take that or Boys to Men?
Boys to Men.
Okay. Would you rather appear on Home and Away or Neighbours?
Home and Away. I've already appeared on Home and Away quite a few times, actually. And I know the stuff. They're good.
Plain fairy bread or fairy bread with Nutella?
Plain fairy bread.
Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram, 100%. Twitter's garbage.
What law would you change in Australia?
The guns. Oh, no. Actually, no, I'd keep the guns. Sorry, I'm talking about America. Forget it. I don't know. I don't know what I would change.
What is your go-to song for karaoke?
Don't Stop Me Now by Queen.
What was the first concert you ever went to?
Tenacious D, 2003.
If you could travel to the past, which year would you go to and why?
2009. Tell myself to not be in boxing rings.
If you were to release an album, what genre of music would it be?
I don't even know. Like, probably jazz. Say jazz.
If you could ask Vince McMahon one question, what would it be?
Why'd you hire the wrong strongman?
In 5 minutes, you are being shipped to outer space. What two personal belongings do you take with you, excluding human beings?
Oof. My phone, my wallet.
Fair enough. Two very practical answers there. But Concrete Davidson, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure. I feel like I could do another hour with you straight away, man. And anytime you want to come and do this again for a part 2, you're definitely more than welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I enjoyed it, man. And there's so much stuff we didn't really even touch on. But yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry about the connection stuff. I hope it was still good.
That was amazing. Look, we will definitely make sure that we get you back on for a part 2 in the next couple of weeks. But where can everyone find you on social media?
Just search Concrete Davidson on everything. I'm pretty, except for Instagram, someone else has the handle, so hopefully I'll get it once Twitter does a purge of inactive accounts one days. yeah, but mostly wrestler merch. I might have the highest number of shirts that don't sell out of every wrestler in Australia on wrestler merch.
We'll head over there, buy one of Concrete Davidson shirts. Follow him on social media. Guys, make sure you tune in tomorrow, 10 a.m. Australian time, which is 7 p.m. USA Eastern, for prime time Elix Skipper, who is going to be on Get Funked with Alan Kiwi Funk. So make sure you tune in for that. Guys, until next time, make sure you go and check out that MWA Podcast Network.com, where you can get all your information, all our upcoming shows, all our past shows, our links to our merch, everything. But guys, until next time, I'm Piers Austin. This is Concrete Davidson, and we'll see you next time. Peace.